Anna, you should conserve water by shutting the faucet off when you're drying your dishes.
Why do I need to conserve water?
Find out on this Talk Around Town. Hi there, I'm David Gassaway and this is Talk Around Town. Today I'm here at the Waterman Water Treatment Facility with Michael Hether, our Assistant Public Works Director for Utilities, and we're here to talk about water today. So, Michael, tell me, where does Fairfield get all of our water from?
Well, the city of Fairfield gets its water from two different places. The first place is Solano Project water, which is Lake Berryessa, and the second place is State Water Project, which is from the state of California. That's the North Bay Aqueduct.
Now, what's the difference between those two water sources?
There's a few different differences depending on what lens you're looking through. So from a water quality standpoint, the Solano Project water, which is Lake Berryessa, which is very high quality water. When you're looking at the State Water Project, it's lower water quality because the source is actually the delta.
Okay.
And depending on the different times of the year, water quality can vary. So sometimes throughout the year, we'll choose not to use certain water sources based on the water quality or maintenance operations that go on. From a reliability standpoint, the difference is Solano Project water is highly reliable as compared to the State Water Project, which is less reliable based on any environmental regulations or constraints that we're under, which typically is from January through June, which is the delta smelt.
Okay. Now, how are we different from other communities or other cities in terms of our water supply?
Well, from the standpoint, Solano Project planners, dating back to the early 1900s, had very good planning and foresight. Solano Project and the planners of Solano County invested wisely in the Monticello Dam and bought into, when Solano Irrigation District was formed, in the building of the Monticello Dam, which is Solano Project. People don't realize that Solano County being situated so close to such a large source is one of the reasons why the city of Fairfield is in good shape when it comes to water supply.
Okay, and so you said we're in really good shape. I think that's excellent to hear. Certainly there's lots of conversation out there statewide about drought. As we all know, we've been in a multi-year drought now. And so how are we on our water supply and our access to water, maybe relatively compared to other agencies?
Sure, I like to think of water depending on what we're talking about, the supply side or the demand side. So on the supply side, we're in good shape. We have a very large savings account. And what I've told the city council is that we have a larger savings account and we're just being asked to take a little bit less out of it. On the demand side, when you look at what the state's been asking cities across California to do, the city's on track. We made our 20% cut by 2020, which was mandated by Governor Schwarzenegger in 2009. We met all those goals on the demand side. And when you look at our consumption data, it has been trending downward over the years. But eventually, there has to be a balance in the way when you look at development and how the city's being developed. When you look at our water supply and the amount of development as we go through our general plan the next several decades, we have enough water to supply the development over the next several decades.
Oh, that's excellent to hear. But talking about drought, how does this current drought really compare to other droughts that the state's had historically in terms of severity?
So currently right now, Solano Project, which is Lake Berryessa, the level at the lake is 60% full. And we have declared a stage 2 conservation measure, which is just asking folks to do more common sense measures. The last drought previous where a stage 2 was declared was in 2014, 2015. And then there was a period of several dry years in 2008 into 2010. But comparatively, the reservoir didn't dip below 50%. You'd have to reach back into the early 1990s to where the reservoir reached almost 30%. So when you look at the reservoir levels over the years, we're nowhere near where it was in the mid-90s. Okay,
well that's good to know. But we also have some precedents then that we can utilize. So, in terms of how all of the water then gets delivered, how we've got these two systems that bring water into the community. What then? How does that then go from those canals and get treated and get distributed out into the community?
Sure, you could divide up the water system into three major categories from the standpoint of supply, the treatment facilities, and distribution. So once the water is treated and it leaves the treatment plant, it enters into the distribution system, which consists of about 375, 380 plus or minus miles of pipeline, depending on how you count it. It then gets distributed to a series of tanks. We have a total of about 78 million gallons of storage across 12 different reservoirs, 16 pump stations throughout the system. And we have highly trained people that visit each one of those sites every day to make sure that those systems are running properly, and making sure that the water quality that we deliver is high quality. We end up taking thousands of samples every year and reporting to the state on water quality to make sure that the water delivered to the tap is health and safe to drink.
Okay, well, in terms of that water distribution, since we're here, I see some equipment behind us that's a part of the distribution system. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about what we have over here.
Sure. What's behind us here is the Puget South Canal. This is where we take water in from the Puget South Canal, and this is Waterman Treatment Plant takes water from Lake Berryessa only. It does not take water from two different sources. The Water Treatment Plant North Bay Regional has the ability to take water from either the State Water Project or the Solano Project. So what's behind us here is the Solano Project, and we have this treatment plant. We have very large customers, high water users, Anheuser-Busch being one of them, and this water treatment plant is set up to feed Anheuser-Busch, because Anheuser-Busch will only take water from Solano Project water. They do not take water from State Water Project due to the high water quality.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. Excellent talking with you and learning from you. After the break, I'll be back with Nigel Browne, Senior Management Analyst in our Public Works Department, to talk about water conservation.
Meet Archie. Fairfield now has an automated website chat assistant to help you. With Archie, you can easily connect to find answers to your questions, submit a service request, or send a message to city staff. To start a conversation, please visit our website at fairfield.ca.gov and click on the chat icon. With Archie, it's that simple. At the City of Fairfield, we want to stay connected with you.
All right, I'm back. Now I'm talking with Nigel. Nigel, thanks for taking some time out of your busy day to talk to me about conservation and help our residents better understand about conservation. So what is the city currently doing for water conservation?
Well, David, the city's doing a couple things. There's two main ways that we conserve. One is information and education. So the city puts out information about water conservation tips and strategies, primarily through our city website. We also send out information on social media, provide written information to individuals, and then we also attend event venues such as the Farmers Market. We'll have a table there where we can answer questions for the public and give them additional information about water conservation.
Okay.
The second way that we conserve is through action. The city has a robust program to monitor and repair leaks in the city's water system. We also address any leaks that are reported to the city by the public. And then we also address any concerns or calls about water waste in the city. So we investigate those issues and reach out to the community if needed.
And speaking of the community, I imagine, the city, we have the water system that we maintain. Obviously, we are a water consumer, but our residents and our businesses are probably, I would imagine, the most consumption of all of our water.
Yes.
What can they do to conserve? How can we help them to conserve?
Well, we've talked about being in stage 2 of our drought measures. And really what that means is that we take common sense measures to conserve water, right? So I would say the primary way that we do that is repairing leaks, addressing landscape watering issues, so reducing your watering time and watering days of your landscape, and also using devices like shut-off nozzles that help conserve water. So businesses will be asked to take some additional measures that don't really apply to the residents. But I would say overall, it's very common sense measures. And if anybody's interested in looking up more of those details, they can look on our city website, fairfield.ca.gov/conserve, where there's a lot of details there. And also another good website is saveourwater.com that has a lot of conservation tips.
Oh, excellent. Are there any rebates? I know that's a question I hear frequently. Are there any rebates or anything that people, maybe their landscaping moved more to drought tolerance? Is there anything like that available?
Yes, so there's a few rebates that are available. City partners with the Solano County Water Agency, commonly known as SQA. Through SQA, there's landscape rebates, there's high efficiency washer water rebates, and rebates for toilets and other devices. I would say the most popular rebate is the water efficient landscape rebate for replacing your lawn. And you can find out more information on that program by going to the Solano County Water Agency website, which is at squa2.com, scwa2.com.
scwa2.com. Okay. And is there any cap on the amount of rebate that they might be eligible to receive for landscape, drought tolerance?
So currently, right now, the rebate is up to $1,500. It comes out to $1.50 a square foot, and that depends on the project. So there's a process that you work with SQA to review and approve your project before you start work to determine that the amount of rebate you qualify for.
Okay. So 2 years ago, I redid my landscaping. Would I qualify?
No. You would need to actually apply and get approval from the agency before you start the project.
Oh, bummer. Okay. But that's probably good since it's a public rebate. Okay. So, the conservation side's great. Rebates are great. How can either residents, prepare for any future drought or elongation of the drought? And what are we as the city doing to ensure that we're more resilient in the future as we look at a more drought stricken state?
What I would say is, as a city, we're taking the same measures that we're asking of our residents and businesses. Installing devices to reduce water use in faucets, right? Automatic shut-off faucets, that type of thing. Monitoring how much we water our landscape. And again, back to our program of actively repairing leaks, which can be a huge source of water loss. I would say, being in California and thinking about the current and future droughts, the best way is just to have a water conservation mindset about how we use our water resources. And what I mean by that is not just focusing on what's happening today with the drought, but thinking in long term that if we save water now, we can use it later.
Okay. So we should probably stop doing certain things that would be, I think you said, common sense, right? So, don't hose down the driveway, no water balloon fights, those types of things.
No water balloon fights. And some of it's very simple things, right? So when you're washing your hands, you're soaping your hands, don't let the water run. Brushing your teeth, don't let the water run. If you hear just a dripping faucet, you turn it off. So those kind of common sense things that people don't realize, that water is being wasted and how much is being wasted.
All right. So sounds like we just need to practice being water wise.
Yes.
Well, speaking of being water wise, while we've been here, I noticed that these taps have been running the entire time. What's that about?
So we're in one of the labs for the Waterman Water Treatment Plant. And these taps are running. They have to constantly be running so the technicians can test the water quality and the other chemicals that are in the water.
Well, excellent, Nigel. Thank you so much for all the information on what our residents and businesses can do and what the city's doing in water conservation. For Talk Around Town, I'm David Gassaway, and we'll see you later.